The Mojave Wasteland, home to New Vegas, Mr. House, the NCR, Kaiser's Legion, and Season 2 of Fallout on Amazon Prime. It almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Am I right? It's also home to the Atomic Cocktail, a craftable, rocket-shaped glowing green alcoholic beverage that in the game would give you a massive buff to fire and energy resistance, and in real life would leave you with a crushing radioactive hangover. And I'm gonna make it today. To make an Atomic Cocktail, which is also a real drink from the 1950s, and I'm gonna be making that later in the episode, I'm gonna need Nuka Victory, an orange glowing variant of Nuka-Cola that you'll find in only 10 locations in Fallout New Vegas, or anywhere that carries Jones Soda. Yeah, I managed to place my stamp on the original Nuka-Cola, going so far as to get Tim Kane's approval as to the canon taste of Nuka-Cola. Seems that Jones has beat me to the punch on Victory. That's gonna be a problem for a couple of reasons. Well, let's see how this Nuka Victory tastes before we get into the problems I'm gonna have with it, okay? So officially they say it's a peach mango drink, and I can see that now that I taste it. It does have some flavor in there that reminds me of peach ring, like those peach ring candies, absolutely. And then actually by putting those two words next to each other and thinking about like the flavor of peach and mango, I kind of start thinking about like, oh, they're actually pretty close. Like they probably have a lot of the same compounds and things like that in there and aldehydes. Yeah, peach mango makes a lot of sense. Maybe they made it peach mango because they couldn't differentiate between the two. I also kind of get some green apple on that, and that makes me wonder if there's malic acid in here, but as a flavor, and not the acid contributor, because they list citric acid, but if they're using malic acid as a flavorant, I think that they can just call it a natural flavor. There's been like lawsuits over that, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's fine, but I do have a couple of problems with it. Firstly, the Atomic Cocktail in the game only contains 3 canon ingredients: Nuka Victory, vodka, and mentats. Tossing some vodka into a bottle of Jones Soda plus whatever we decide a mentat tastes like isn't very much fun, and it leaves me with very little to work with here on how to drink. This episode would have been already over. But the other problem for me is that Jones has chosen to achieve their orange color by using a combination of yellow 5 and red 40. Now, my problem isn't really anything to do with which particular food colorant Jones chooses to use. A little yellow 5 or red 40 is hardly gonna matter when we've already committed to drinking a radioactive sugar bomb. My problem is color science. While Nuka Victory is orange, the Atomic Cocktail I'm gonna make needs to be green. And I'm really committed to making this drink as canon as I possibly can. And if there's any red 40 in our Nuka Victory, frankly, there's just nothing I can add to it that's gonna turn it green. And I'll demonstrate right now. Nuka Victory. So we'll add some blue color to that, and you'll see it's gonna just turn to crap. So that is like a purple mess. And no matter how much I thin that back out with this, it will never not be purple or brown. That's not what we're going for here, right? You see that? That's not right. This isn't good. We don't want this. This is terrible. Maybe if I light it up with my Pip-Boy, even if I put green light through it, it's still the wrong color. I mean, that's not good. Using anything with red 40 in it, the best I'm gonna be able to achieve is some kind of a brownish purple mess. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty stumped here because I really want to make this drink as close to the canon recipe as I possibly can. And immediately I was like, well, how the hell am I going to make it green? But then I stumbled into the most powerful tool at my disposal: Sci-Fi Apologism. I think apologism is the right term to use here. Apologism. I think that's what it is. I saw that somewhere that somebody was using that term about Star Wars. Why is there sound in space? There's not. The inside of the spaceships have sound inducers in them that, you know, make sounds that help you keep positioning about where the spaceships are around you. It's a simulation thing. That's a smart idea. I like that idea. I go with that. That's why there's sound in space in Star Wars. There's not. It's inside the spaceships. It's part of the targeting system. Anyway, I realized that Jones Soda, admittedly canon Nuka Victory, was being bottled fresh right here in 2025. Every single bottle of Nuka Victory anyone in New Vegas is going to be drinking or mixing into Atomic Cocktails will have been bottled in 2077 and then left to sit around for 219 years in a radioactive wasteland. And as we've seen in Fallout, that kind of thing can result in a lot of changes. A lot. So I started out by looking at what would actually happen to a bottle of soda that was left lying in a nuclear wasteland for some 200 odd years. And the answer is kind of disappointing, to be honest. Even in a sealed bottle, it would probably just dry up entirely. Maybe you'd be left with some kind of like a sticky brown residue or tar stuffed on the inside of the bottle. Also, it probably wouldn't even be radioactive. The bottle's gonna stop alpha particles, and beta particles and gamma rays wouldn't really even interact in a meaningful way with the soda inside. That's boring. Fortunately for us, real-life radiation also doesn't create immortal ghouls or rad roaches or death claws. But Fallout radiation does, and that's the kind we're dealing with here. Magic. I figure we can expect our 219-year-old Nuka-Cola Victory to taste somehow decayed, maybe more metallic. I think the bright kind of peach mango flavor of this here 2025 Victory is going to become muted and off-tasting. And crucially, the yellow 5 and red 40 are going to mutate into yellow 6. Now, for some reason that I don't really know, it's probably just more expensive or something, yellow 6 doesn't show up in food and drink all that often. But the good news is for us that it's also called Sunset Orange, and somehow achieves a deep orange color without the inclusion of any red pigments. Science! So I sat down and I worked up 3 possible formulas for Nuka-Cola circa 2296, when Fallout, the TV show, takes place. And one of them came out really funky and not entirely pleasant, but not undrinkable. The other 2 were actually way too tasty for my lore-accurate Nuka-Cola, so I set those aside. So this is actually the test syrup B that I liked a lot. So this is the first version of Nuka-Cola Victory that I sort of approved of. I said it was funky. It's got a funky smell. It's funky. And here's the thing. I picked it of my 3 syrups because this was the weirdest tasting one, not because it was the best. I specifically wanted the bad one because that's the whole idea. We took Nuka-Cola Victory and we sat it in a radioactive wasteland and made it rough. I don't think any of the Nuka-Colas, maybe regular Nuka-Cola, of the Mojave Wasteland taste really great. I just think that they're a lot better than the alternatives, or more interesting, or they're full of drugs, right? Because there's all kinds of buffs in them, right? So the caffeine, the sugar, all that good stuff, right? For a lore-accurate Nuka Victory, which is what I'm going for here, this is pretty close. Good acidity, nice little bite. I definitely get a skosh of that peach mango flavor in my workup, and then resolves into strong grapefruity bitter notes as well on top of the whole thing. It hits like a sort of menthol and camphor note at the end that is like weird. It's real weird. I don't hate it. I kind of like it. There's also like some artificial banana flavors in there. Ooh, it does linger. I'll explain why in a minute. There's like a kind of a Desitin sort of flavor that sort of lingers, like the smell of like Desitin or something like that. The recipe I'm going to give you here is for 250 milliliters of a flavor essence. So it's 0.6 grams of ethyl butyrate, 0.25 grams of isoamyl acetate, that's your banana flavor, 0.2 grams of benzyl acetate, 0.08 grams of aldehyde C14, which is part of what makes peach taste like peach, 0.06 grams of y-Decalactone, 0.04 grams of y-Dodecalactone, 0.08 milliliters of white grapefruit essential oil. This is a little weird, right? 2 milliliters of 1% Nuka-Tone, it's a dilution I have of 1%, 0.5 milliliters of 1% glycol, which gives it this really camphor phenolic note at the end, 0.015 grams of methyl salicylate, which is sort of wintergreeny, 0.03 grams of rum ether, 0.08 grams of Zingerone crystals. Zingerone is a part of what makes ginger ginger. 0.025 grams of Methyl Cyclopentenolone, which is sort of like taste of artificial caramel, I guess you would say, or like, I think more like s'mores, like toasty marshmallows. 0.02 milliliters of Cyclol C, but in a 1% dilution. Okay, so 0.2 milliliters, 200 microliters, 0.01% diluted grapefruit mercaptan. Grapefruit mercaptan is, oh man, is it 1-pentyl 8 or something like that? It is the most potent aroma ever. I have a tiny vial of this stuff, and when you open it, it is, and it's diluted there, it's like, it sets your whole face on fire. It's unbelievable. And I've found out that I actually really like it in drinks. 2 milliliters of a gentian extract, about a half a milliliter of a cinchona bark extract, which is, you know, what has tonic, like that's where quinine, or quinine, if you are from the UK, comes from. You put all those together, stir them, make it up to 250 milliliters of ethanol. Then I polished it in magnesium carbonate to clarify it, and then remade it back to 250. There you go, 250 mils of that. You use 30 milliliters of that essence to a syrup. The syrup is 3 parts sugar to 2 parts water. So in my case, 600 grams of sugar to 400 grams of water, 8 grams of citric acid, 1.2 grams of sodium citrate, and then yellow 6 to your desired color, which is, you know, roughly here. This is about what I'm going for. So I really liked this test batch as a starting place. So then I went back to my spreadsheet and I did a little bit more work on it. This syrup only had citric acid in it, but I wanted more bite in the final version and a bit more bitterness. I always kind of get annoyed when something is like a cola variant, particularly like a Nuka-Cola variant, and it doesn't have any even nod towards cola notes in it. So I started working those back in here, which would be like nutmeg, vanilla, orange, lemon, that stuff. That's already in here, some of that orange and lemon, right? But anyway, some of those things that would reference the original Nuka flavor. So I did a modified batch based on what I learned from this. I'm calling Nuka Victory B-2, like a B-2 bomber maybe. Works with 0.012 grams of ethyl vanillin, 0.01 grams of isobutavan, 0.08 grams of those Zingerone crystals, 0.025 grams of methyl cyclopentenolone, 0.08 grams of aldehyde C14, 0.06 grams of y-Decalactone, 0.04 grams of y-Dodecalactone, 0.6 grams of ethyl butyrate. Ethyl butyrate does not smell good, by the way. It's some nasty bits. 0.25 grams of Isoamyl Acetate, 0.2 grams of Benzyl Acetate, 0.03 grams of rum ether, 0.08 milliliters of that white grapefruit essential oil, 0.015 milliliters of bitter orange essential oil, and you could do a dilution of that to make that a lot easier. I'll put some notes about that in the description below. It's tough to measure 0.015 milliliters. 0.015 milliliters of nutmeg essential oil, 0.008 milliliters of cinnamon bark essential oil. I'm really just trying to put like nods, like ghosts of a cola flavor in here. I threw in the smallest amount of myrrh essential oil that I could possibly measure, okay? I attempted to measure 5 microns. I don't know what it worked out to be, but that's what I was attempting to measure, 5 microliters. So as minimal as possible. Back to Nuka-Tone, 0.2 milliliters of my 10% dilution of Nuka-Tone. 0.2 milliliters of Cyclol C at a 1% dilution, half a milliliter of glycol at 1%, 200 microliters or 0.2 milliliters of grapefruit mercaptan, 0.1% dilution, 2 whole milliliters of the gentian extract, which I made myself. That's pretty easy. It's just equal parts powdered ground gentian and ethanol in a percolator for a while. I don't have B-roll for that on this one, but Darcy will point you in the right direction. Go check out Art of Drink on that one. 0.7 milliliters of my cinchona extract, same idea as the gentian extract. Polished that up with magnesium carbonate, which is nothing more than Limer's chalk. You just mix them together and then vacuum filter it a few times, straight through itself over and over again, and it comes out clear. You lose all those resins, topped up to 250 mils of ethanol. That is the recipe for Essence Victory B-2. I did change the syrup on that one as well. For that syrup, it's the same, 3-2 in 1 liter of that 3-2 syrup, 7 grams of citric acid, 0.7 milliliters of an 85% strong phosphoric acid. The warning labels on that one did make me nervous, but I did some research and got over it. 1.5 grams of sodium citrate, and what's fun is, I haven't tasted it yet. I made this and I specifically resisted tasting this because I wanted my first taste test of this to be on camera, so I don't even know what I'm in for. So right now, this time of year, I'm trying to cook more at home, but I never have time to go to the grocery store, and I kind of don't like doing it anyway. I'm always busy in my studio making my show. And that's why I am very fortunate and very glad to say that HelloFresh is the sponsor of this episode. So thank you, HelloFresh. I just found out that HelloFresh has recently doubled the size of their menu. Now they have over 100 recipes every single week, which is awesome because frankly, I get bored just like anybody else, and I'm glad to have new things to eat. Probably my favorite thing about HelloFresh is that I get exposed to new recipes and new cooking techniques and new foods that I maybe wouldn't get around to trying otherwise, and that's like a lot of fun. Today, I'm making some salmon that I think I'm gonna love. I'm a drinking show, not a cooking show, so I'm not usually in my kitchen, so this is a little awkward, but, I threw it on the floor. I threw the salmon on the floor, but let's see how the salmon I didn't throw on the floor is. It's actually really fantastic. That is awesome. Get up to 10 free meals on your first box at HelloFresh.com using code HTDFM. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals and free shipping. Just go to HelloFresh.com and use code HTDFM. Now back to the show. I can tell you what it smells like. It's got a lot of what's going on over in this guy, but like some more, I don't even know how to put my note on that. Like, I would actually say metallic notes, honestly. I think I was going for it, but like, I think there's a concert of things happening in here that are gonna come out a little bit metallic, a little bit more. Well, let's find out. Okay, same idea, little glass of seltzer. Try this syrup. Might even strongly pour that so I can really get a potent taste of it. And so that 250 mils of essence, you use that 30 milliliters to a liter of syrup, then you use about 1 ounce to 7 to 1. So you can make quite a bit of soda from 250 mils of essence. To Vault Tech. Way more tangy, much better cola bite. The phosphoric acid is awesome. Definitely has a lot of the isoamyl like off notes. It dances on your tongue a lot differently. The carbonation feels more powerful because I think of the phosphoric acid. I don't want to touch this with malic acid. Still has some of those funky notes. I could workshop something to death. If I was gonna do a third version, and this takes too long, so I'm not. There it is. I was worried that like the weird ethyl butyrate and glycol notes were gone, but actually they're where I want them. They're right at the very end as like an aftertaste that shows up late. That's good. That's where I wanted them. It's not overpowering. I think you could sell this actually. I like it. I think you could sell it. People would enjoy it. I love that. And then I'm getting that cut of that grapefruit and mercapt in there. It'd be weird enough to kind of like be, oh, that's something different, but it's definitely not bad actually. I think people might enjoy this. I'm gonna keep that around and serve it to some friends. Whereas this guy is like much more off-putting. This has a lot of those off-putting notes, but is also kind of approachable. I nailed it. I'm very happy with this. If I was gonna keep working it, I might try to turn up the volume on some of the more unpleasant phenolic kind of camphor notes, but I don't think so. I think I would leave it as is. And I said I think you could sell it, and I feel like maybe there are some people in the comments who are saying, Greg, I want to taste that. I want to sell it to you. I built a whole laboratory to do soda development in, and I've been using it. I've had it for a year now, and I have this plan to do soda development on the show, soft drink development, and then be able to sell limited quantities of that to the audience, because I think it's really neat. The idea is fun of making something on the show and then you being able to taste exactly that. The problem is that I can find a co-packer. That's not actually as hard. That was what I thought I needed. It's not that hard. The problem is I need a flavor house that will reproduce my flavor formulas with whatever they need to have changed to be self-stable and like financially viable, because some of these ingredients might be really expensive, and produce like a gallon of flavorant that I can then send to a co-packer. All these flavor houses that I've contacted, they don't want to take my formula. They want me to like take their flavors off the shelf and tell them what I would like it to taste like so that they can kind of like work to that. And that it's not the same story, you know? Like, I don't think that that's something that people are gonna be that interested in. So if you are a flavorist or you work at a flavor house and you're interested in producing small quantities on the order of a gallon or 5 of truly custom from the bottom up flavors, let me know. That'd be great to work with. Yeah, I love the way this came out. It's so cool. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Look, if we could just keep talking about this for just a second. Nuka Cola Victory from Jones is canon. We had a conversation about this in my private Discord. Other people we've talked about this, you know, this has been something we thought about. Fine, it's canon. However, I don't think Nuka Cola Victory should taste like peach mango, unless that was established in Nuka World or something. I didn't play that game. Because if it was gonna taste like peach mango, I think it would say peach mango on it. I think Nuka Cola Victory tastes like victory. I think it tastes like whatever Nuka Victory tastes like, the same way that Coca-Cola doesn't really taste like anything else, it tastes like cola. I like that this does not really taste like anything other than what it is. It's cola adjacent. I could tell you that there are banana bubblegum notes in it. I could tell you that it has a really powerful biting acidity. I could tell you that it is all of those things, but like it doesn't taste like a fruit, for example. So I like that. All right, I'm just saying, game designers, you know, Bethesda, Amazon Prime, I can do this. If you need someone to like help you with your in-game consumables and stuff, I can be that guy. You know, you want to do like a Fallout bar book? You talk to me. So I feel pretty confident now about saying that if this is what Nuka Cola Victory tastes like when it's bottled in 2025, this is what it tastes like if it's bottled in 2077 and left around till 2296. So what do we do with it? Well, you can get these rocket bottles from Bethesda, just like you can get these Pip-Boys from Bethesda. They say that you can't put drinks into them, but I break rules. So I put some seltzer into here, and I've already pre-measured where it had to go to, and I have a keg of seltzer over there, and it's not on my show, so I just walked off in between takes there, and I put that in there. And so this has got the seltzer already in it, and yeah, this is probably not the best way to bottle this. I should have built a whole keg of this and done a counter pressure filling thing, but I only have one of these because they're not cheap. And then we are going to very carefully add this syrup to it because the shape of this bottle does kind of make it want to fizz over. Perfect. Get your bottle capping lever, get a bottle cap, put that into the spot and cap it. And there you have it, a bottled Nuka Cola Victory with my own Victory soda in there. So now that I've got this bottle of Nuka Victory that I bottled here in 2025, I think this here Pip-Boy's got a function on it that will advance time on this. So I'm just gonna advance time on this for about 219 years. Ooh, all right, that'll do it. There you go. 219-year-old Nuka Victory. But we're not done yet. The other two components in this thing are going to be vodka and mentats. Now, vodka is vodka, so we're going to leave that alone. I'm not worried about what vodka is going to be like in the year 29. I can never remember what year it is anymore, but that year, 219 years after 2077, actually. But what are mentats? So if I'm honest, like, mentats are magic. Mentats are a drug that exists in Fallout. It's a buff that it makes you smarter. And actually in Fallout 1 and 2, it gives you extra action points. And maybe it's not magic. Maybe they're just amphetamines of some kind. And I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but I will not be making meth on this episode of HTD, at least. Instead, I found an Etsy seller that makes these really cool looking little mentat tins. I'll put a link around here somewhere. Thank you, Etsy seller. And then I dyed some Altoids blue and I put them in there. Why did I go with blue? Well, frankly, my atomic cocktail needs them to be blue, but also I was just going off of memory and I thought that in the game we never actually got to see the color of a mentat, just like the actual package they came in, and so I thought I had license to make them whatever color I wanted them to be. However, I was corrected by somebody in my own Discord server. Somehow I'd forgotten that the in-game art for mentats in my favorite Fallout games, Fallout 1 and 2, include a couple of red tablets spilled out of the box. Well, I have news for you. Mentats also came in a blue coating that was easier on the stomach, and you could buy them both ways, so nah. That Discord server, by the way, is a private one that is for the members of my Patreon. It's a very cool place where you can correct me on Fallout lore in real time, and also participate in our Secret Santa or our happy hours and movie nights and get access to behind-the-scenes look at the show and exclusive episodes and exclusive drinks that are just for patrons and our growing pin collection and the HTD app, which is a thing I developed that makes using the show as your own personal cocktail guide a lot easier than using a YouTube channel as a cocktail guide. It's not really convenient to do that. And all kinds of more things that I'm always working on. And if you love the show and any of that sounds cool to you, I'm gonna ask you to please take a look and give it a thought, because this show cannot continue to exist without the support of our patrons. It is actually several full-time jobs to make this thing, and the revenue on YouTube has honestly really crashed out over the last couple of years. There is genuinely no way to keep it alive without Patreon. And to the patrons who make this all possible, I will see you in the Discord. Something nuclear winter. I like that more all the time. Now, if you're gonna dye Altoids blue, there's a few things you gotta know first. One, make sure that the blue you use is blue 1, and that's also true for the yellow 6. If you buy like commercial grade food coloring, a lot of like the yellows are gonna be yellow 5, which won't do what we need it to do. You gotta look, the ingredients are gonna be there on them somewhere. It'll tell you which yellow, which red, which whatever it is. You want blue 1 and yellow 6 to do what we're gonna do here. So make sure that the blue you use is blue 1. It's a pure blue pigment that doesn't contain anything that's gonna throw this whole thing off. You can buy food colorants in powder form or in like bulk form, in industrial form. I probably should do that if I'm gonna keep doing things like this. I haven't yet because it's expensive and it's a large quantity. I'm just using like commercially available Baker's coloring right now. They are not pure, they have some other ingredients in them. But the second thing you need to know is that Altoids are gonna dissolve in water, but not in alcohol. So you gotta get some Everclear, you know, like 95% alcohol, or I guess you could use vodka. I didn't try it. Maybe like a 60% vodka or something like that would work. You dilute your dye in the alcohol, and then you can leave the Altoids to soak for a while in that, like overnight even. Then you just let them air dry. If you use water, you're just gonna get a mess. Your Altoids will melt, they're gonna turn into mush. It just will not be good. So now that I've got my Nuka Victory and my mentats and my vodka, the only thing left that I need to figure out how to do to make this lore-accurate atomic cocktail is find something to mix and serve it in. As you know, in Fallout New Vegas, it comes in a like commemorative rocket shaker mug thing. And I found one. I got this like smallish glass shaker that looks kind of like the texture of the drink in the game, and we'll see through it. And then I found a rocket-shaped shaker that's got like these metal fins and a cone on top, and the shaker I tossed. Look at that. There you have what we're gonna put our atomic cocktail in. I think that's pretty dope. I think that'll work really good. In the game, of course, it's silver, but maybe that's because it was red and all the red wore off. I don't know. I'm gonna put links around if you wanna pick up any of this stuff for yourself and do this crazy thing. There is actually one other thing you're gonna want, and that's these. These are these little bottle glorifiers. They're basically disposable, and they come with like 2 little watch batteries. And as you can see, they're like stick-on guys. So how do you make Nuka Victory glow? How do you make it illuminate? Well, you don't do it chemically because that would kill you. You cannot make a luminous liquid that is truly luminous, that produces its own light, that is safe for you to ingest. This does not want to stick to this because it's too cold. There you go. That's our Nuka Victory, actually. There it is, glowing. And then I'm gonna put another one on the bottom of our atomic cocktail shaker guy. These are kind of cool. They stick on with this 3M stuff, and they have a button on the bottom, so. But it's the only way to do it. It shouldn't be glowing yet, but that's okay. That's just the way it is. So some people are gonna say, hey Greg, why do you use this bottle glorifier light instead of just making it out of like something that's blacklight reactive? For example, tonic. Tonic will glow blue under a blacklight. Well, there's two reasons. One, I don't need it to glow blue, I need it to glow orange. Believe it or not, I have tested every spirit I own under a blacklight, and I have found that some absinthes glow bright red under blacklight, which is pretty weird. Not all of them, just some. But also not very helpful here. The other thing is, a blacklight glowing thing is functionally the same as a drink with a light under it, because you're shining a light at the drink. I mean, I understand that there's a slightly different physical process going on here, but 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other, in my opinion. Also, like rigging up some kind of a ultraviolet spotlight in here that can compete with studio lights. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I don't know about that. It's pretty bright in here. All right, let's make the drink. So, to make an atomic cocktail, the first thing we're going to do is actually assume that we have ice. And believe it or not, we would have ice, right? Like, there's electricity all over the Mojave Wasteland, so there's no reason why you wouldn't have ice. I think lots of people probably do have ice. I don't remember that coming up in the game, but I don't see why there wouldn't be ice, at least sometimes. So we're gonna have ice in this. It looks like there's ice in the drink in the game to me anyway. So let's put some ice in here. Not too much, actually. That's probably more than enough. Crack open an ice cold Nuka Victory. All this muck on it's coming off of my hand very easily, almost like it's like a Tamiya Age Master kit. Pour our Nuka Victory into this drink. I think it's actually sitting on top of the ice a little bit here. Actually, maybe there's still too much ice in there. It's hard to get a sense for how big this like glass is. It's pretty small, which is good, because we don't want it to be ridiculous. I'm gonna put my 2 ounces of vodka in there, and then I'm probably gonna top it up with the rest of this Nuka, make sure I've got room for everything. 2 ounces of vodka. Bada boom, bada bing. The truth is the game was rigged from the start. Ooh, you like that? Yeah. Chandler Bing. Get the rest of that in there. There you go. And now for the final and secret ingredient, a mentat. And you just gotta stir it in. I think that's pretty cool. Atomic cocktail. What do you think? Look at this thing. Look at this thing. I think that looks awesome. That looks awesome. Yeah! I am so happy with the way this came out. Now, is it a soda, a vodka, and an Altoid in real life? Yes. But I mean, this is a highly custom cocktail. I had to make that soda from the ground up, so, and the Altoid pill and all that stuff. So I feel pretty good about this. Plus, it's got that really cool color changing effect. Come on, that's cool. That's cool. All right, now we can try it. How is the atomic cocktail? A lot of vanilla. It's really thinned out because of the vodka, actually, and the water. So, like, the flavors are much more muted from where they were as a soda. There's a kind of an angry sort of attack at the front, some vanilla notes, that great big grapefruit kind of attack. And then it does end in that camphor kind of glycol, there it is again. Maybe that's the ethyl butyrate, but like it's an unpleasant kind of, not burning plastic. I don't know, it always reminds me of like Desitin or something, because you know, I'm a dad and so I've been around that stuff. Like the smell of that medicinal kind of smell. That's actually probably what I should have just said. It's also a luminous green cocktail, and I'm freaking thrilled with the way it came out. I am pumped, yeah! I gotta send a picture of this to Mara. The only other thing I'm gonna say is that Altoid in there, it's slowly gonna dissolve. And will it affect the flavor as it does? Yeah, it's gonna increase mintiness in the drink. And if you like muddled it and crushed it and really mixed it in that way, sure. So yeah, that Altoid is gonna make the drink mintier over time. That's cool. It's gonna transform over time. I think that's a fun idea. And I guess if you used a straw and drank from the vicinity of where that Altoid was at the bottom, you would get kind of a different effect because you'd be drinking kind of from the melt of the Altoids. So let's see how it is from the bottom, kind of in the vicinity of that Altoid. Oh yeah, you definitely get like a kind of a sharp mintiness to it. That's cool. I like that. It's fun that it's got layers. It's fun that it evolves. Atomic cocktail. Ah! So happy with the way this came out. Hey Bethesda. Hey Amazon Prime. Hello, J.E. Sawyer. Can we call this canon? Can this be the canon atomic cocktail, please? Can we just say that? Thank you. You could. You could say that. You have that power. All of you do. Any one of you. Do I have that power? No. Too much power. Now that is the atomic cocktail in 2296, but there's another atomic cocktail. This one, which was invented in the 1950s and served at a place called the Desert Inn in Las Vegas, particularly in the Sky Room. Here's what I love about this drink and why I think it belongs in this episode, other than sharing a name and a location. It's because the Sky Room was famous for its view of the atomic testing site outside of Vegas. And patrons would go there specifically to watch the mushroom clouds and the gamma flashes while sipping atomic cocktails and cheering on those blasts. Yippee! Honestly, when I look at the pictures I could find of the interior of that room, because there's not a lot of them left, it even kind of reminds me of the cocktail lounge of the Lucky 38. If you worked on New Vegas, let me know. I wonder if that was an inspiration at all. Las Vegas at the time had this whole atomic city, atomic tourism campaign, you know, come visit Las Vegas and see the bombs go off. It was a crazy time. Anyway, to make the real atomic cocktail, you build it in a mixing glass. It's 1.5 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounces of cognac, a teaspoon or so of like a medium sherry. Stir that with the ice, strain it into a coupe, and top it with champagne. Now, here's the thing about this drink. Most recipes you're gonna find online for this are gonna call for brut, but I can't find any contemporary recipes in newspapers or whatever for this drink. Another researcher would do a better job, I'm sure. But I can't. The earliest I can find anything in print about this is from 1983, and it doesn't specify which champagne to use. I had this drink once before when I actually had Tim Kaine on the show to talk about Fallout, the show. You should check out the links, they're around here somewhere. And I thought it was way too dry when I tried that, and I made it with brut. But here's the thing about that. People used to prefer much sweeter champagnes than they do today. I know that might defy your logic, but in the early 20th century, like 120 grams of sugar per liter wasn't uncommon in champagne, and today your brut is 12 grams per liter. Drier styles of champagne were just catching on in the mid-20th century, and I'm pretty sure that this drink should have been made with a sec or demi-sec champagne even, which is much sweeter. You know, just catching on in the middle of the 20th century, I mean, and Las Vegas, not really a cosmopolitan city. Believe it or not, like the way New York is, you know, like there's no like Dryden, Dorothy Parker, Algonquin Circle kind of a scene there. That's really who pioneers like the super dry cocktails. Las Vegas is kind of like a fun hick town, and I bet they like their drinks a bit sweet. You know, people coming from all over, big, loud leisure suits, that kind of thing. Here it is, atomic cocktail, garnished with an orange twist and made with demi-sec champagne this time instead of a brut. Let's see if I like it better than I did when I had it with Tim Kaine. I still hate this drink. I hate this drink so much. Genuinely, the one from New Vegas tastes better. This just tastes angry. It just tastes like some angry, orangey, nasty. I mean, I think if it was good, people would still drink this. I think that's right. There's no printing of this recipe. Nobody talks about this recipe. This was made up by somebody who needed a gimmick to sell cocktails. Yeah. It's not good. The sherry is probably the most fun thing in there. I like sherry. I like a medium sherry like that. It has a kind of a nutty flavor at the end there. That's cool. That's the good part. This is gross. This drink is so bad. Anyway, so much fun making this, because for me, the holy grail of adapting a drink from a video game or something is when I can make it look right, taste right, and use the recipe from the game. I don't think I've ever done it quite like this before. Actually, the closest I've ever gotten, and it of course required interpretation, was another Bethesda game, the space one that nobody liked. I forget the name of it, but I did a drink from it that sometimes people ask me, what is the drink you're most proud of on the show? That might be it. I don't even remember the name of it now, but it's a layered thing, and I couldn't believe that I pulled it off. I'll put a link up somewhere for that. But this is even better because I happen to love Fallout. I love New Vegas. I'm like a New Vegas guy, you know, as far as 3D Fallouts go. That's probably my favorite. I should really get into 4. I should play 4. I've just never gotten around to it. I don't know, bringing this to life was just so cool, and being able to do it in a way that I think is lore accurate. I'm very proud of this. I'm not proud of much, guys. I'm not a prideful man, but I'm proud of this. I love you all. I love this show, and I want to do more Fallout stuff, more game stuff, so tell your mom, tell your pa, tell your friends, like and subscribe, check out my Patreon if you can, and I will see you next time on another HTD. Until then, remember, the house always wins.